Okay, good afternoon. David,
Coach.
please. All right.
Hey, Mike, can you talk a little bit more about what you're doing with these sessions on Friday? And are they basically modeled the same way with what you do during the season, or are they expanded a little bit more?
I would say it's similar. I mean, it's meetings in the morning and an extensive mock game where we're able to still basically today we had 3 in a row, so we were able to review the last 3 installs on the offensive defensive work. And then I think we had 40 plays of game management. So we're actually broke down to, like a 50-40 split between offense, defense, scheme, correction, cleanup, and then game management. So we're just pushing forward to get as much as we can, in the teaching component of game management as we possibly can. It's something we felt like it's a bigger focus this year. Then we have the state program afterwards, and then we'll finish with a team meeting.
What did your quarterbacks do with that yesterday?
What do you?
And handling things yesterday.
Oh no, they do an excellent job, and we have a chance to. We had the meetings this morning. We had a team meeting, and then we actually review what's coming. As far as by video and instruction, and then we rep it on the field. So yeah, quarterbacks do an excellent job.
It wasn't like Dak was sat idly by yesterday. How busy was he yesterday? And he kind of joked that he got a lot of conditioning work in.
He had a lot of conditioning work. I think Brett actually worked him too much. But his conditioning was high, so I think it just points to what kind of shape he's in. But he did the mock game today. He's done everything that was asked today. Just except throw. So and we don't need to really throw the ball that much in the mock game, anyways.
When you look at your future schedule and practice and going to Canton, do you have could Dak start throwing again on Tuesday before y'all leave?
Really, that's probably a better question for Monday. I'm hopeful that he continues to progress throughout the weekend, and I think we're going to reassess Monday morning.
How do you balance that? Because you have Tuesday and then you wouldn't throw again for another 3 days. Weighing the benefit of putting 4 more days on top of it versus doing something. Is it just strictly if he can throw, he can throw?
I mean, David, honestly, I'm just going to let the rehab process answer that question. I mean, I'm really focused on him getting back where, it's not an issue. We definitely would bring him back later than sooner, from a mindset as far as, the way we look at it. So if that's Monday, great. But, we'll just have to wait after Monday, because obviously Monday's the off day. But we'll see what Monday brings us.
When you say you think he did a little too much yesterday, was that something like the GPS numbers were showing you, or just something from feel, and how will that impact who you expect the next week?
I'd love to share all that detailed information with you, but I probably shouldn't. But that was a joke. That was a bad one though. But he had a lot of work. He had high GPS numbers, so I think. But I know they just really pushed it yesterday out there. So, Britt and Dak have been working exclusively, and I just think, like anything, he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to lose any of the conditioning as he goes through this period. Because the team periods are so beneficial, all the way around. Particularly in the way you look at the conditioning.
Anything stand out yesterday from the emphasized run game work and practice?
I don't know. What'd you think? I talked, 1 back, 2 back. Yeah, good stuff. Phone booth football. The receivers don't understand why we put 22 guys all together like that, but you need it. No, it was good work. I enjoyed it. I think you have to. You need more of that today than you probably have the chance to practice it. But I really liked all the 2 back, phone booth football that we were able to get in yesterday.
Look forward with your run defense, training camp and preseason, maybe the camp when it's not live, to see how they're progressing.
Well, the most important thing is is the timing, the footwork, getting the blocking schemes in sync, particularly the zone blocking. That's usually the first that comes together. You get more into the pattern concepts where you're pulling a guard or a center or tackle, angle pull. So that the timing of that and the way the back fits, it just takes time to get it synchronized. And it's no different for the defense. That they're fitting, they're hitting their targets, and their ability to keep their gap integrity and run off the block. And so this is what training camp's for. I mean, we just need the work. I mean, we look like a team that's practiced 2 days in pads. I mean, that's where we are. It's not abnormal, but this is why you have training camp.
You had a lot of emphasis on the run game, yet CD found a way to stand out.
Yeah.
with a couple touchdown catches. Does he continue to impress you, or you just expect those things from that team?
I mean, that's good observation because then it also creates one-on-one situations. You know, you get into those type of 4-minute situations, and the backed up series was good work. But the ability to create the one-on-one outside with all that room, that definitely plays to CD's strength because his ability to not only burst but drop his weight and particularly the double move routes. And yes, but yeah, creating one-on-ones for all those guys, I mean, it definitely gives them a lot more room to work.
How is Anthony Brown responding to all the competition in the cornerback room, and especially with all the veterans coming
I
up?
think Anthony looks great. I mean, number one, I think he's had a tremendous offseason. I mean, you look at the weight and the size that he's put on. His weight is up in a good way from last year. So I think Anthony's having an outstanding camp.
Maurice Kennedy,
Yeah.
did you have any idea when OTA started what you really had in him, and over the course of the camp, what have you kind of come to see about him and his style of play?
I did not. Maurice has been because because obviously he wasn't here last year, and then he came back off the knee surgery. So the thing that really excites me about him is his instincts and ball skills. I mean, his ability to play, with the anticipation. He's made some plays on the ball. So I've been very impressed with what he has shown so far.
You guys got a lot of corners. I know you don't need to make a decision on a 53-man roster today, but how difficult do you anticipate that decision will be with all the competition that's there?
Well, you want it to be difficult, but I think history will tell you. I mean, and particularly the last 10 years, sub offense and defense has gone up so much. The quarterback position is stressed more. You look at the course. My point is, you need all of them. I mean, you can't have enough corners. Corners are playing more. They're playing more on special teams. They're playing more on the sub package groups. So I think it's healthy, but I don't know if I've ever had a year that your cornerbacks haven't been stressed from a health challenge in the last 10 years. I think it's just the numbers. It's the number that they play a lot more. The space of today's NFL it's a lot more challenging for those guys.
What's the highest number of corners you've ever had on a 53-man roster?
Well, I think you look at it more secondary. I mean, I've been involved where the traditional used to be 10, and then I've seen it as high as 12. So you can make an argument it could be 13 if you just look at pure numbers on who plays in the game. So to me, the players in the competition of camp and preseason game answers that, because I mean, you really want the competition to decide the final roster. And I never really looked at it as the 53. I think it'll be 68 with the practice squad. So we're going to need all those guys, and so it's healthy. And I think I've already said it. You can't have enough corners.
When you start thinking about the 53 or 68 or whatever number you want to put on, is that part of your daily meetings? Is it something you wait for the game to start before you start worrying about those sort of things?
I don't, and frankly, Ted Thompson taught me that. He thought it was a bad habit to get into to try to, you start doing that too early, you may miss on a guy. So it's important to really give everybody credit. I think we all, look at the board and continue to rank guys, to keep, make sure you're in tune with the numbers. But I've never been one to sit down and start picking your team in the second week of training camp. But I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's the best process.
Robinson back to the corner. Reggie Robinson, how has he looked so far?
He's doing well. I mean, I think he's definitely more comfortable. I think that, the fact of, especially when he's switching, he's a lot more competitive, and I think he was thinking too much last year, and that was part of the position change. So, I'm looking for him to take advantage not only of his corner opportunities, but he really needs to grab a hold of the special teams opportunities also.
What are your thoughts on Dan Quinn, just in terms of what he's doing in practice, what he's doing in meetings, what he's trying to achieve with the team?
Super impressed with Dan and what he's done. I think like anything, a coordinator, you have to get your staff right. And that's such a big part of this. And frankly, it's the hardest part. The player relationships I think we all enjoy that. You can see how he's brought the room together, but going back to when he first arrived, just the extra meetings, the extra time that he put with the staff, you're definitely starting to see the benefits of it, because when the staff's right, the relationships with the players are better, and the communication's better. Your whole process is better. So Dan's doing a fantastic job.
Was that an issue last year?
There's nothing we're talking about this year. No, complimenting Dan on the job he's doing.
Now, after driving your truck off the road when learning about Hard Knocks, now that you've been here and worked with it a couple of weeks, has it been less intrusive than maybe you were concerned it would be? Are there times you don't notice they're there? How is that going?
The staff's wonderful, but I think the fact that I almost wrecked my truck definitely reflects the challenge that it brings. No, it's just different. It'll always be that way. But I think our guys, the most important thing is you can't let it be a distraction, and it hasn't been for our football team, hasn't been for the players and the coaching and the support operations, and that's really the most important thing to me. They can't make it any easier for you. They're very accommodating. They're very professional. That part is refreshing. But it's the facts of the matter. I think in just life in general, if you put a group of men, 120 men into a room, and you have a conversation of some things you want to do it this way, the camaraderie, the language, the behavior is definitely a little different when there's not a camera. I think that's the facts of the matter. So that's the only downside of it. So, but it hasn't affected our camp, hasn't affected anything we had to do with preparation.
Malik Turner didn't play a lot last year. Why did you bring him back, and what have you seen in the receiver, him as a receiver here this year?
I'll tell you what, Malik said, he's just a really good, well-rounded football player. I think if you see his workload alone each and every day, he really puts out, both as a receiver position and special teams. So he's very well-rounded. It's a very competitive room. When I look at Malik and Noah and Cedric, and you got three guys that can just run into any situation, any position, on low reps. All those things that you look for in your receiver, because you want diversity. Because when the players can play multiple positions, it gives the coaching staff schematically, an advantage of trying to create better matchups.
Three receivers as good as you do at the top of that rotation, does it alter what you look for in the other two spots, or is it always just what those individuals can bring?
See, I've always looked at the receiver position as you want them all to be able to play all three, 4 positions. Because with that, to go beat the great defenses, your 4th and 5th matchup have to win. You have to win regularly, because the good defenses are going to, they're going to line up and tilt the coverage or tilt the field to try to take away 1 and 2. And if you just look at the great offenses in this league the last decade, it's the teams that have the 3rd and 4th, and potentially the 5th matchup. And that's what you always want. And that's just the way I've always viewed the receiver position.
How flexible in terms of wide receiver positions has Noah Brown been, and what kind of camp has he had thus far? Ditto.
Noah's that guy. Noah's that player that can play any position. He's outstanding on special teams. He's as tough as the guy that we have on our roster. So I love Noah Brown. I love the way he plays. I love the way he goes about it. So he gives us great flexibility.
How competitive does that QB target game get between the guys, you think?
It's okay. I've seen, I think it picks up. It's a great game. It's fun, because I think it's like anything. You give these guys a chance to compete in anything, they're going to compete. But yeah, they do a good job with it.
Mike, we hear about how the defense has disguises, how you want to be multiple, and then we also hear Leighton Vander Esch say yesterday, this more 4-3 foundation scheme is what he feels like he was drafted to play. What's the art to making guys feel like this is the scheme they're comfortable in, while also pushing them to try different things?
Well, I think it's the scheme is part of it, but it's really it's the fundamentals within the scheme, the consistency of it. You want to make sure you're asking them to do enough for not only them to be successful, the defense can be successful, but it's really the comfort and how they fit. And that's the beauty of having multiple personnel groups, but the ability to teach both offense and defense, I look at the same. you design things by concept. If you stay in a concept-driven approach, it gives you the ammunition to get into game plans and line up each and every week. And I think with that, when you take that approach as a coach, it really simplifies things for the players. And you can just see the way we're playing so much faster right now, and but we can play even faster. So, and that's really the ultimate goal. But guys are having a clear understanding, and the communication is getting better each and every day, and we just got to keep building on it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Kellen Moore's up next.
All righty. What's up?
How are you doing, Kellen?
Great.
You start by talking about with Dak not throwing here, just the work you're getting the other quarterbacks and how they've responded this far, and how you'll do it this weekend as well with those guys.
Yeah. First, it's awesome for those guys. A lot of times, guys in those situations, you sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait and you get 2 reps. And so you wait a long time because obviously Dak's getting the majority of it. So it's awesome for those guys first and foremost. Obviously, we're on ups and downs. Training camp, threw a bunch of picks the other day. That's probably not a great day, but I think they grew from it. They had a better day yesterday, and so it's been awesome for them. And then ultimately, the big challenge is get a chance to play in these preseason games, and we'll let it play itself out.
What was your internal dialogue when either Dak told you, my shoulder doesn't feel right, I'm going to not throw today, or when you hear he's going to have an MRI? What's that internal dialogue?
I don't think it's overly concerning. Training camp is part of the process. Guys get banged up during camp. Guys can't go at times. You're leading up to practice, and the guy just can't go that day. And we want to go be cautious about those things. And so things are always kind of adjusting. And obviously Dak was a part of that right now, and so we're just fine. Dak's got plenty of time. We got plenty of time to get this thing rolling towards preseason and then to training camp and into the season. And so we're good.
How was he doing the first 4+ practices before he came out?
Really good, yeah. Dak's Dak. He's back. No concerns.
Hindsight is 20/20, but is there anything that he was doing or that you're like, maybe we shouldn't have him do that in terms of how he ended up getting that shoulder injury?
No. I think we're good with the process. Sometimes things like this happen, and you're going. When it's still July and we play a game in September, we're going to make sure we're smart about it.
In what ways can you see Garrett's understanding of the offense different than last year now that he's got more time in the system?
Yeah, it's huge. Just to go through a whole off season. He did a tremendous job in season. I mean, he showed up, and about a week later, he was playing in a game against Pittsburgh, and so he handled that extremely well. He's just got a great presence about him, great command. He does a great job at the line of scrimmage, and so you feel very fortunate to have guys like him that can handle the volume at the line of scrimmage to be able to do the things that we want to do.
It's easier a lot of times to project what someone can do if you've seen them in a lot of NFL games. He hadn't had that, so was there anything beyond that gave you a comfort level saying, hey, if he's our backup going into the season, we're still in good shape?
Yeah, obviously, his opportunity at Pittsburgh and then practice the rest of the year. Obviously, he's out there running the scout team, and so we're around him each and every day. We're in meetings. Garrett's done a tremendous job, done so much for us through this whole process, and Cooper's done the same thing. Ben's done the same thing, and so those guys all just have an awesome opportunity right now to just go play.
You were in the quarterback room with Dak as a teammate in his rookie year, and he had quite an adventurous training camp, you getting hurt and then Tony. From what you observed about the way he was as a rookie in the room, is there anything that kind of informed the way you see him now in the room as the leader of the group?
He's always been a natural leader. I think it's the way his mind works. I think until you're in a room talking football, watching football with Dak, you understand just how smart he is and how quickly he can apply coaching points, things we see on film, make those adjustments. I think that's one of his biggest strengths that maybe isn't talked about as much. I think he does a tremendous job with all that. And obviously, the more and more each and every year, he's taken more and more command at the line of scrimmage of really owning the show. And when you see something, go for it and make adjustments and get us in the right protections, the right concepts if we want to make an adjustment. He's done a tremendous job with all that.
Kellen, Mike talked after some of the defense's interceptions this week about how the offense had missed assignments and mental errors during those team drills. What were some of the places y'all most needed to improve, and what was the conversation like in your meetings after those days?
Yeah, it's just growth opportunities for everyone. That's what training camp's for. You don't want to make the same mistake twice. If we make the same mistake twice, now we got issues. So we're going to go through this process. We're going to have mistakes. We're going to have quarterbacks and receivers not on the same page with adjustments to routes, maybe a protection plan. So we just got to go through the process. And great opportunity. Guys kind of got bumped up as soon as Dak wasn't going. Obviously, guys got different reps than maybe they were anticipating, so it was a great growth opportunity for them.
Is there a day-to-day competition between offense, defense during a training camp? Like who wins what that day, or the other side wants to come back the next?
Yeah, it's natural. It's natural. Everyone's competitive. We'll have certain drills during training camp that are obviously competitive that, offense and defense are going, and there's some sort of a scoring element or a score on the clock. Maybe it's a 2-minute drive or whatnot. And so naturally it's competitive, but at the end of the day, we are teammates. Everyone's in this together, and so we got to do it collaboratively and in a smart way.
Is CeeDee Lamb better than you thought he'd be, or is he doing kind of the stuff you were expecting when you guys drafted him?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. I don't know where my expectation would have been in relation. At the end of the day, the guy's awesome. And obviously, you guys have seen the growth opportunity that he's had just playing outside, playing the outside receiver. We know he can play inside. We've got plenty of film on that. But him being able to play all over the field, he's done a tremendous job with that, and that's going to be a huge, huge asset for us.
What was your experience like? You had the Boise stuff a little bit there, too. What was your experience at interviewing with the Eagles, and how do you think that'll help you going forward? You told us you do want to be a head coach one day.
Yeah, it's good to go through the process. You're going to go through it. You're going to learn a ton from it. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, go through the process, and all the people you get to have conversations with who are a part of an interview process who may be resources for you. And so I grew a ton from it and really, really enjoyed it.
Do you actually keep notes after something like that, or just file it away mentally, what you're doing? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. You go through that process. You're going to learn a lot from it, and you're going to make adjustments. Maybe something, your approach, maybe a philosophical thing. I think it's a tremendous opportunity. I really, really enjoyed it.
Kellen, I'm sure it's a good problem to have, but how do you personally go about finding opportunities, reps, what have you, for Tony, knowing that you also have a guy like Zeke?
Yep. It's been our balancing act for a little while here. Tony is tremendous. Obviously, he's taken advantage of opportunities when he's had them. And we're continuing to try and find roles where we can utilize him. And obviously right now we're kind of in this installation process. We're getting the foundation of our offense in. As we move into preseason games and get closer to training camp, obviously we want to find a tremendous role for him that can allow him to take advantage of opportunities even when Zeke's on the field.
Is CD getting to a point where you said he's phenomenal as a receiver? Are there discussions about how much we want to use him as a punt returner? And do they ask you, what do you think his role on offense will be, and then do we want to balance that?
Yeah, I think that's more of Bones and Mike, deciding when he's a part of that process. Obviously, he's a guy you want the ball in his hands, and so certainly if there's opportunities as a return man, I think our whole entire team will be fired up to see him back there.
Amari knows what he's doing in this game generally. He's been around a long time. But when you talk about getting everyone on the same page, what's the key to keeping a guy like him mentally engaged when he's not going to be out there physically for a little while?
Really, it's meetings, obviously, him being a part of those, being in those each and every day, and then having the opportunity to still be able to watch the team period. So when we are, he's with Britt a lot, obviously getting ready and doing all those aspects to his rehab. But when we get to team periods, obviously he's able to watch those, and I think it's the best situation he can possibly be in right now as he recovers.
What are Zach Martin's best traits?
Holy cow! To me, Zach, leader, tremendous command. Just the toughness, and really he raises the expectation level, I think, of everyone around him. He does a tremendous job, and he's not a loud talker. He's not a big rah-rah guy. He's not going to give any big rah-rah speeches. But when he talks, when he's in the huddle, there's a presence that raises the level for everyone.
Guys have talked about his balance.
Oh, yeah.
What have you seen him in his ability to recover if he's knocked off balance? Does anything kind of come to your mind immediately, a play or a situation?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the game, but certainly there's been some opportunities where he plays some tremendous talents, and you get in goofy spots as a lineman. Sometimes you get torqued, and you're literally, your back is to the defensive lineman, and he's done some tremendous things on film where he just finds a way to stay in position on guys. And you guys watch it just like all of us. You don't see a whole lot of guys win and continue to win against him. They may beat him once, but usually he recovers. He finds a way to kind of fight and claw and get a hand back on the guy and give us just enough time to get the ball out. And it's pretty tremendous for a guy who plays snap after snap, plays some really challenging guys, especially in our division, in that position. And so he's pretty special.
How was Michael Gallup?
Go ahead, Coach.
Sorry. How was Michael Gallup grown as a receiver? You've been here since day one with him.
Yeah, Michael's done a tremendous job. He's obviously has so many natural gifts, and he's worked his tail off to get there. He played primarily in kind of one position his first couple years, and I think, again, just like CD, his growth has came in his overall understanding of football, just his awareness and being able to line up all over the field. And I think that's going to be a tremendous opportunity for us to take advantage of.
For Connor McGovern, this is essentially his first real offseason between the Peck and the rookie and last year's strangeness.
Yeah.
What parts of his development are most encouraging to you? Where have his greatest strides been made?
I think we know who Connor is as a player. I think it just comes down to consistency. For guys that haven't had as much time on task, it just comes down to consistency, being able to do it each and every down. Connor's obviously did a tremendous job for us last year. Once he got comfortable in that position, he had the opportunity to play late in the year. He took huge strides. Each and every week were tremendous strides, and he got to a place where we felt really comfortable with him out there. And so we feel fortunate to have Connor Williams, Connor McGovern, both those guys being able to be guys who can play inside and give us a ton of depth. And obviously one of them will start, and one of them's ready to hop right back in there anytime we need it.
When you make the decision for Connor Williams to start taking snaps at center, how much of that is what you see out of him versus feeling that the left guard depth might be better than another position? And what would you say are the most important things he needs to do to master center as opposed to what he's doing at guard?
Yeah, first and foremost, he's left guard competition, first and foremost. He's played tremendous there. He's done a really good job. And so first and foremost is he's battling to be the starting left guard. And I think he provides some depth for us, at that center position, not having Joe right now. Having Tyler's done a tremendous job, just providing some depth, because you never know how rosters play themselves out as a season. You get tighter rosters, you get in some tricky spots, and so for him to be able to potentially be a swing guy that can play center would be really big for us. Obviously, playing center in practice and in a game, I feel like is very different. Once you get to 22 players out there and the lights are on and you got to make decisions fast. That's part of the evaluation process for him probably. But he's done a really good job being able to handle both throughout camp.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.